Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of The Antidote. I'm just going to keep this video very nice and short to talk about the misinformation that goes out there and the massive repercussions that it can cause. Right, so in the BBC recently, they published an article talking about the little known spinal injury that leads to millions of pounds of money being wasted on legal fees because doctors are missing this condition. The condition they're talking about is something called Cauda Equina, and it's essentially an area of nerves in the lower area of your back that, if they get trapped, can have permanent and serious repercussions. Now, what it means is you won't be able to control your bladder or your bowels, so that might result in you always needing to have a catheter in place and essentially tubes to help you pass urine or open and defecate. You'll have loss of power in your legs, so that means you might need to be in a wheelchair for life, and it will lead to other problems such as chronic back pain. So there's a very, very serious condition called Cauda Equina, and if you look at the reporting which is done in the BBC, it labels it as a little known condition. It's not a little known condition at all, and the way, or the premise that this is a condition which doctors don't really know about and it's getting missed all the time is a load of rubbish. The doctors have actually quoted in that story as well. I think they've probably had their words or their kind of helpful advice skewed in such a way to suggest that this is a bigger problem than it is. There are certain things that we're taught in medical school. There's certain conditions, and what you're taught about are common things which happen in the population, and you're taught about red flag things which you may never see in the entirety of your whole career, but if you ever come across it, it's the first thing you need to think of. So for example, meningitis. You could talk to any medical student from the first year onwards and ask them about meningitis, and they'll tell you all the symptoms. They'll recite it off by heart. It's neck pain and stiffness, it's photophobia, the patient can't look at the light, it hurts them, they get a headache, they might be vomiting, they might have a temperature, and then there's that very famous rash that all parents know about as well and often come to see the GP about to get reassurance that their child doesn't have meningitis. Now, I've personally never seen meningitis in my career, but me and my colleagues would always tell you about it because it's a very serious condition and one you'd never miss. In terms of back pain, how common do you think back pain is in the UK? Following depression, it's the second most common condition that comes to see GPs and is complained about regularly. What this article has done is suggested to these patients, hey, your doctor may have missed out on that Cauda Equina and you've only got a few hours to solve it because it's back pain, and back pain always gets dismissed as muscular or something else. It's a really irresponsible article. Cauda Equina is the only serious back pain which needs to get treated immediately. If you don't resolve that compression that's happening on the nerves within 6 hours even, it can lead onto permanent problems. Now, what the article should have done is focus on the comments of the doctor who's been quoted as saying, we don't have enough scanners which are going on. We don't have enough MRI scanners. So this is called magnetic resonance imaging, which is essentially a giant magnet. It's not an easy scan to get hold of. It's normally off-site, and certainly if it's out of hours, it's hard to normally get the scan done or have it reported. But I assure you, if you ever turn up to an accident emergency department at 2 in the morning and a doctor thinks you've got Cauda Equina, you won't be sat there for hours and hours and crossing this 6-hour mark until somebody scanned you and made sure you've had treatment or not. We take this stuff very seriously. It's the equivalent of saying we'd let you sit there and have a heart attack for a few hours and then wait for us to have the right equipment to then finally diagnose whether you had it or not. It's a very negative article, and this is the kind of irresponsible reporting which causes hysteria, and then we'll have lots of patients come back to the practice, which I've had now today, come back and tell me, oh doctor, do I have this Cauda Equina problem? Come on guys, let's stick with the proper facts here. The proper story that you should be pushing as the BBC is talking about, why don't we have enough scanners? Can we get more scanners? Can we have a bit more leeway if 1 or 2 patients come in with this condition at the same time? Could we actually get 2 scans done at the same time? That's the important article here. Not to suggest this is a condition which is getting misdiagnosed by doctors or doctors are not picking up on it. This is one of the very few things that we need to know off by heart, and we'll probably never come across it in our careers. So that's just something which really got my goat today, and I wanted to make a quick video about it. And just to put the cherry on top, the UK's lost its measles status as being measles free. So well done to everyone who wasn't vaccinating. You've managed to put us back into the dark ages, and really it's a shambles that our country is in this position. Please, 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 for the media there, you're responsible not to push misinformation. That's exactly why we've had problems with the measles and vaccination campaign, and why you're now creating a new headache for the doctors to suggest that lots of people with normal back pain need to go back and see their doctor because this condition's been missed. It's simply nonsense. Remember guys, to like, share and subscribe the channel. I'm your friendly GP, and this was The Antidote. Take care.